A line outside of the South Nashville clerk's office snakes almost to the parking lot. There's shade, but make no mistake, it's blistering hot out here. Senior citizen Cy Weinberger has no idea why only 4 people are allowed in the air-conditioned building at any one time.
You just never know what the metro government's going to do.
If he only knew, the very same Davidson County clerk's office in Hermitage has no restrictions, none. Everyone is allowed in the building to stand in line in the air-conditioned lobby.
That's the way it goes, government. Just can't get them to coordinate each other. The left hand don't know what the right hand's doing.
Head over to North Nashville, and there's a limit again. 6 people allowed inside, strictly enforced by the security guard. And there is no shade, just hot sun and concrete.
I came here last week, and the line was all the way out there in the parking lot. I'm like, I'm not been standing in that line. No, too hot for that.
In fact, only 4 people are allowed to stand in between the office and the outside.
Yeah, he was finna make me go back outside a few minutes ago. I was finna get ready to leave. I'm not finna stand out there in that heat. I have asthma and I can't deal with that heat like that.
Head over to the Madison County Clerk's office. Everyone's allowed in. No guard, no limits. What in the world is going on? We got County Clerk Brenda Wynn on the phone. You understand, like, some of your offices allow people into the air-conditioned area. Some of your offices don't. You understand that doesn't make sense. Like, why in Hermitage does everyone get to stand inside in the air conditioning, and why at Rosa Parks in North are there people in their 70s and 80s standing out in 100-degree weather?
Mr. Ferrier, our services are available online, by mail, and if you didn't know it, we had an outbreak of COVID just recently in this office where 20 people tested positive.
But of course, that wasn't my question.
So
why are they allowed inside Hermitage and not North Nashville? Why? Why is the different policy for 2 identical centers? Just explain that to me, you know.
Mr. Ferrier, the policies are there is no policy.
Then what is that? Is a government gobbledygook. What do you mean there's no policy? They're allowed inside Hermitage, and they are not allowed inside North Nashville or Antioch. Why? That's a direct question. You won't answer it.
We allow people in as we have the space, Mr. Ferrier.
No, you don't. That's just not true. Later, Ms. Wynn called back and claimed there are special considerations for seniors.
Just talked to our lead clerk over at the North office, and she told me that they allow seniors to come in. They give them seats inside the lobby so that they can wait. So, Mr. Ferrier, your contention that we're leaving elderly out in the heat is just not true.
But here's the thing. We went to these offices before the phone call. No one offered 66-year-old Luther Lewis a seat inside. In fact, there was only 1 chair in the entire lobby, and guess who was sitting in it? The security guard.
How come they couldn't be lined up in there? How come they couldn't go in now? I mean, can the land just start inside instead of them being outside in the heat? Seem like, I don't know who's the judge, but seem like we need to get some justice right here.
No chair in the air conditioning for 80-year-old Cy Weinberger. And as far as online, come on.
I'm not tech savvy, and I'm not paying the extra $5 to send it in by mail.
Money matters.
Money matters, especially when you're retired. They don't care. They don't care.
Yes, the Republican National Convention wants the ability to address concerns from Metro Council members and also wants them to reconsider. However, several of these council members have told me they still plan to vote no. $100 million. That's how much Mayor John Cooper's office expects it to cost to bring the 2024 Republican National Convention to Nashville. But at Tuesday's council meeting, sponsor Robert Swope withdrew his measure. The host committee says it views Nashville as the ideal American city, and so does Governor Bill Lee.
We certainly hope they choose to, and I've communicated that with the mayor, certainly. We have an opportunity for an enormous economic boom as a result of 40,000 people coming to our city for a week.
Governor Lee goes on to say this would provide small businesses in the mid-state an opportunity for profit.
These are the types of things that Nashville is set up to be successful in. We saw that with the draft. We've seen that with even July 4th celebrations.
We reached out to the mayor's office to ask how much the city spent on the 2019 NFL Draft, CMA Fest, and Let Freedom Sing celebration. We are waiting on a response. In the other finalist city, Milwaukee, a spokesperson for the mayor's office tells me if the city received the $50 million federal grant, the costs would be covered. But critics like Lee Jones, chair of the Davidson County Democratic Party, cite financial burden and added security risks.
The political environment right now is very volatile, and I just don't think we need it at this time.
Jones says she would have the same concerns about hosting the DNC convention in Nashville.
10 years ago, the owner of Bang Candy moved from Ireland to Nashville, where she later fell in love with the building right behind me and was able to open up a shop of her own. However, what she wasn't expecting was for her rent to increase every couple of years, later doubling by the decade.
Everything is made by hand, cut by hand, every single one.
When it comes to her business, you can still hear the passion in her voice.
But then there's something about it that is not about the money.
Sarah Souther says the most expensive item in her candy shop costs $50.
But we're still subject to all the same rules as every other business, so it just ain't easy. It's hard to make the money.
Making it hard to keep up with inflation and rising rent.
In the last year and a half, I would say it's been like, whoop, just very steep across the board.
And Souther worries what this could all mean for her business in the coming years.
And there comes a point, I think, a tipping point where you're like, is it really worth it?
With real estate entrepreneur Joel Sanders predicting that more businesses will begin relocating in order to save their business.
They may be able to sustain their business, but sustaining the location their business was in may be one of the things that has to be sacrificed.
But Sanders says the good news is this will create more opportunities for surrounding areas.
Madison, East Nashville, the Woodbine area, all of these areas that were kind of calm and sleepers, there's so much cool stuff going on. And so that's where I've seen some of these businesses relocating to.
And the council member for that district, Freddie O'Connell, says, quote, the most important step we've recently taken is using $20 million of American Rescue Plan dollars for a small business recovery fund. However, he does add that after a recent resignation in the mayor's office on Friday, it's unclear who will administer the fund.